Okay, Dr. Ogada, thank you so much for joining me and for doing this. I really appreciate it. How are you
Yeah, my
doing
pleasure.
today?
I'm doing okay and keeping up with the craziness going around, going on in the world
Mm,
right now.
I saw that
Yeah,
video that you put out about iShow Speed being in Kenya and all of it being a giant orchestrated stunt by Kenya Wildlife Service. That was
yeah.
a
The Kenya Wildlife Service and other government agencies and all that. Yeah, they all choreographed the whole thing. So it
mm.
certainly wasn't organic in Kenya. It may have been in other parts of Africa, but not Kenya.
Okay, and what do you make of that? Was that a missed opportunity for someone with a large following to be given a specific a view of Kenya and display of Kenya, or was it kind of hopeless from the get-go?
It was pretty. I'd say it was hopeless from the get go because um, Kenya is obsessed with optics.
Mm,
We as a nation are so obsessed with how other people see us
yeah.
that we won't let them just see us as we are.
Mm,
We are trying to curate our certain image, and even when things go wrong in Kenya, sometimes maybe the civil unrest, you'll hear the stresses about, oh, it foreign investors won't want to come, tourists won't want to come,
yeah.
this will spoil our image abroad and this kind of thing. So it's unfortunate because Kenya itself is a beautiful, diverse, and very vibrant country and society, but we keep wanting to curate everything about how people see us. So some people are supporting the thing as if, oh, this guy made he showed a good image of Kenya and all that.
Mm-hmm.
He showed so many millions of people. He showed so many millions of people what Kenya looks like, and this kind of thing. And I was thinking, like, I don't care. I know how Kenya is or what Kenya is. Like myself, um, we need to be good for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be good for our own sake, and then those who perceive us can perceive us in whatever way they want. Like if they think we are all poor and sleeping hungry, that's fine because I know we have food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, that's a very, very interesting take because it's been interesting seeing how different countries have responded as he has
yeah,
been touring from Cape Town all the way through Africa. And yours is the first take that I've seen that has highlighted how there was a massive controlled effort by
yeah,
governmental institutions to orchestrate it. And yours is also the first take that I've heard that kind of criticizes that and views that as a bad thing. But then this is a theme that carries through with a lot of the content that you make. I recall
mm,
watching a video that you made about imperialists that don't have empire and how
yeah,
childish that is.
yeah,
You remarked about Kenyan people dressing up to watch the royal wedding on TV and so on and so forth. And I guess that kind of carries across when you see a person with a very massive following come through and all of these governmental institutions try to orchestrate it and everybody's just clapping their hands.
yeah. Everybody's clapping their hand, and if there's a role of government is that, okay, this guy's got a massive following, and I confess before he came, I did not know him,
Mm,
but he's got a massive following. And the only role of government should be sort of, because there's all these crowds and stuff, like have some police there to keep him secure. So people, because I've since then I've looked and he's gone to places and people are like pulling his hair and stuff like that. So have
yeah.
some security so that people don't harass him or harm him physically in any way. So
Mm,
that if he goes to a certain place, you control crowds, so you don't have a huge crash or stampede in any places and that kind of thing. But let him do his thing if you go where he wants to go. And because one of the things, if you look at they one of the places they took him was one of these affordable housing projects that our government is doing, and that's not a successful project. No one's moved into those houses. No one lives there.
oh.
So they choreographed it to look like he's visiting some thriving urban community, and that's all staged. Um, and going around again, and it's so incoherent. There's shouting and screaming, and and just a lot of noise.
Mm.
So I see the place that has in society, but we should not get in and try and choreograph that and see it as a way forward in how we present ourselves.
Mm. Okay, that's I mean I completely agree. I completely agree.
Mm,
I guess this also ties into something that I wanted to ask you because so in the content that you make, it's obviously very centered around conservation. It's centered around
mhm.
the sort of imperial history of conservation and how conservation today in Kenya and broadly in Africa is a continual preservation of that aristocratic
Yeah,
colonial legacy. Um,
yeah.
and in the last, it also beyond that, there's an aspect to your content that intersects with politics and with race and so on and so forth. And in the last 2 years, there's been these uprisings by the youth in Kenya, and it's made a lot of waves. There's many people
Mm.
that have covered it, and I wanted to sort of get your take on that. Do you think, or do you see when you see all of these protests that are coming up, do you see that there is hope for a change of political disposition in
Mm.
Kenya, or do you see it as more hype and more overblown coverage by foreign media?
Yeah, I see because yeah, as you say, I come from the conservation sector,
Mm,
and I'll confess to you, conservation made no sense to me even after getting an advanced degree and working in it for so many years until I started reading into the politics and sociology of it.
mm,
Then suddenly I understood what's going on. And going forward into the politics and the protests now, what's happening in Kenya is that the younger generation, the Gen Z, as we call them, they're waking up to they're waking up to the fact that they've been victims of a long con. And in that, if you look at the history of Kenya, we had the colonialists, then the immediate post-colonial government were selected Africans,
hmm.
selected to create an African elite.
Yeah.
So they took over, and then after they grew old, died, the second generation, as in the children of those people,
Hmm.
took over. And these children of those people were, there are those who are between sort of, I'd say between 50 to 60 years old now.
Hmm.
And they took over. And this is the generation they took over and they were trained to keep the imperialist structures going and all that. And unfortunately, time has overtaken these imperialist structures and they're decaying.
Yeah.
So this is the generation that has ended up selling our country out to capitalists as they try and maintain a system that had been bypassed by time.
Mm.
And they've hung on to positions. So you find senior government positions are occupied by people in their 70s and 80s and 60s.
Yeah.
While if you compare to the immediate post-independence government, there were people in their 30s in the cabinet.
Yeah.
The people in their 20s in senior civil service and that kind of thing. And we've kept telling these kids that you are the leaders of tomorrow. There's an expression in Swahili that viongozi wa kesho, so leaders of tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they've realized now that they've been had, and they're just not buying it anymore.
Mm.
This thing that your elders are doing something wrong, but you respect your elders,
Yeah.
don't question them. They're realizing this BS and they're not buying it. And our politicians are at sixes and sevens now, wondering how to reach out to these people, and that's why they sort of latched onto let's jump onto the IShow speed bandwagon. And as
Yeah.
much as the youth enjoyed that guy's visit and enjoyed interacting with him thoroughly, it didn't make political mileage. And the
Yeah.
protests that happened 2024, 2025 have showed us that there's a big problem.
Hmm.
Youth who are ignored, they're being brutalized, they're being shot and killed in the streets, they don't have jobs. Um, they've got energy and they're brilliant,
Hmm.
mentally brilliant, creative people. And our government has failed to absorb them because they don't fit into the imperialist boxes. So what's going on now? There's going to be change.
Hmm.
It's partly due to this huge youth bulge that they're around 70% of our population, and the
Yeah.
fact that the generation in charge now is they're dying and becoming decrepit. It's sort of natural attrition. They
Yeah.
don't have new ideas to offer anymore, and they're just going to be shunted aside.
Okay.
Old structures like political parties are becoming so passe in Kenya. Literally,
Hmm.
youth they're starting to say, we like so and so, we're going to
Yeah.
vote for him, or we
Yeah.
like so and so, and we resonate with his message. So that's encouraging.